Good morning. So we're going to take a look at the Backstabber Mugger template that I've got. Really successful template for me. Allows me to clear quite a lot of gold, both through raw gold items and then different coloured leathers, which soon racks up and adds some real sort of money-making value to this template. So in terms of skills, we're starting out with 120 camping. So we've got 120 camping for the carry weight, because it allows me to stay down in dungeons a lot longer and carry a lot more leather / gold. So I can usually carry about 25k gold raw, some items, and then 3 to 4,000 leather all at the same time before having to come out of the dungeon, which makes the runs a lot easier for me. Fencing at 80, so it doesn't need to be 100 for this template whatsoever. 80 is perfectly fine. Forensic eval, that is going up to 120. To be honest, 110 would do. The only difference I think between 110 and 120 is you just get slightly more leather, but 110 would be a perfectly fine stop-off point. Hiding at 100, really important, non-negotiable. Stealing at 100, so that's what allows us to basically mug the mob that we're fighting. So when I come out of stealth and do the backstab, it'll attempt to mug the creature. Now that can give me rare items sometimes. Usually it's gold, but it's an added bonus as well as obviously what's on the mob itself. Stealth at 120. Now, stealth at 120 just gives me more stealth steps. Basically, pair that with shadow aspect that I'm running, both for weapon and for armor, and I'm getting a lot of stealth steps, which really helps. The shadow armor is what I basically use to heal on this character as well, because as you can see in the template, there's no form of healing, so I have to rely on pots. And I have to rely on stealth steps, basically giving me health back. Tracking, so that's going down to 80. Tracking at 100 would be ideal. So basically this is a great template for sitting in a dungeon, avoiding reds. I can see them coming from a mile off, so it's very, very rare, unless they're hunting in packs and revealing people, that I get killed by red in a dungeon. Fencing is what I've gone for, but there's another honourable mention here, which actually for a brand new starting out backstabber would probably be better in some regards, and that's mace fighting. Basically, mace fighting in your macing codex, you would take wild swing, and that's a really good damage bump. Fencing, the more links you get, I think Bear had done a video on this, and I tend to agree. I think it pulls ahead because of Blackguard Strike. So basically what Blackguard Strike does is successful hits have a 3% chance per rank to inflict a disease effect that deals 200% damage spread out over 20 seconds. Excuse me. So basically, if I get Blackguard to hit, it'll just tick off chunks of damage off the creature. So I can move on to the next creature to kill rather than having to go back to attack that creature again. I prefer Blackguard. To be honest, it's what I started playing with. So I never went the macing route, but it is again a viable option to use. In terms of links, I've only got 11 links. The important ones to go for straight away are backstab damage, so get 10 of those. Definitely helps with your damage. After that, damage to creatures above 66% isn't a bad way to go. I'm probably going to do another 10 of those, if I'm honest, once I've obviously worked on my chain a little bit more. Because obviously, if the creatures are above 66% HP, first time you hit them, that's adding raw damage plus your backstab damage. So that would be the way that I would kind of look at going with that. I have seen some different options out there, but for me, this seems to work really well. Now, your Thieves codex. It's important to note that this template isn't ideal straight out the gate. There's a number of reasons for that. I'm not running any tactics in this build. So, basically, what Ruffian's doing, I believe it's Ruffian, I can use points of stealth in place of tactics when making mugging attempts. So here, it's taking my stealth, basically, and using it as if it's tactics. Without this, you'd be like a wet noodle, honestly. The fastest way I've found to train up your Thieves Codex is by going to Shadowspire Cathedral, and as people are killing, especially level 1, really good for this, just run up and steal off the creature. Now, you've got to be aware that doing that out of stealth especially lowers your steal chance, and the mob will hit you back, usually about half health. But, again, you got some pots, you got some means of healing yourself, you'll be absolutely fine. And I did that over probably 2 evenings, roughly, and managed to fill out my Thieves Codex. But Ruffian is kind of absolutely needed for this. So Ransack, get a damage bonus for each unused stealth step. Self-explanatory. Shadow Hands uses hiding skill in place to snooping skill. Again, really important. Without a trace, now that's like your smoke bombs. So it reduces cooldown on smoke bombs by 20, 40 or 60 seconds. I should carry smoke bombs more often than I do, if I'm honest with you. Like I mentioned before, the thing that suffers with this template is there's no healing on it. So if I get bled by a mob, I'll chug a pot, but if it's a strong bleed, so say I'm down in level 3 of a dungeon, Crawl Hive's one of my favourites, so we'll use that as an example. If I take a bleed and I can't get back into stealth quick enough to walk around and use my stealth steps, because there is a delay on getting back into stealth, or to hide and then into stealth, I'm dead before that bleed's worn off. So smoke bombs would get me back into stealth a lot quicker, and then allow me to kind of try and walk off that damage as it heals with the aspect, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. What I tend to do is, if I haven't got smoke bombs on me, I'll avoid mobs I know will bleed, or put a disease on me, for instance. Especially, it doesn't matter so much in level 1 or 2, but level 3s, definitely level 4s, that's something that you've just got to be aware of and play a little bit smart around. And then we've got 3 points in extortion, so increases the chance gold stolen by 100%, so I've got a 14% chance. And then additional black goods, and then Overlooked. Overlooked's really good. So Overlooked reduces the aggro range of creatures. So you can get back into hiding by breaking line of sight, or by being X amount of steps away from a creature. What Overlooked does is it reduces that aggro range. So I have to run less distance away from a creature to get back into hiding and then back into stealth, obviously. So Overlooked is a really, really good skill to have on there. So we've gone through the Thieves Codex. We've gone through, obviously, the Fencing Codex. How do I get around? So camping, this little book that you start off with, the World Atlas, that I'll be honest with you, for the first year I never even really opened or looked at. In here it gives you a list of all the townships. You've got your sub-dungeons, so that's like your newbie dungeon. Outside of shelter, shrines, point of interests, personal, moon gates, healer caravans, dungeons, and then you can set custom waypoints. The higher your camping skill, the more custom waypoints you can have. Basically, what I do is carry kindling, so double click the kindling, starts a fire. When it says your campfire is now secure, I can click on township, let's go to outpost, and then hike to location. So without using regents or carrying any form of magery, that's how I get around. And of course I haven't got chivalry, so I can't use Sacred Journey. That's not too bad. There is a little bit of a cooldown after combat, but again, that gets me around. The only problem with this book is that you have to unlock the points of interest first, so they don't actually come unlocked for you. So that can be a little bit of a pain if you've got a secondary character that's got magery and can gate you around to these locations. Double click, make a campfire near the entrance to say ossuary, and then it'll unlock that path for you. So there is a little bit of work here to unlock the paths in this book. But once they're done, it's as simple as just placing some kindling and then custom, back to my house, hiking to destination, and off we go. Nice and simple. Right, let's go and have a look in a dungeon, see the template in action. So we're down in level 3 of Aegis Keep, and just to show you, I took a little bit of damage on the way down, going to stealth, and then I'm getting +5 healing, or a chance at +5 healing on stealth step. So within seconds, I'm topped up. Nice and easy. What I would recommend is setting a stealth step counter so that you're aware of where you're at with the stealth steps, basically. Makes life a lot easier for you. And then I'm running a simple macro that basically when I'm in stealth, it puts me into war mode. So up to the creature, double click, down it goes. So I stole 66 gold, and then I've still got the loot here. Now, what I also have is a skinning knife here. So I've got that set to my middle mouse wheel. Now if I press that, it'll skin the creature. I can loot the leather off it, the items I want, close it down, and off we go again. So I can get fairly close to these creatures before I have to hide, thanks to Overlooked in the Thieves codex. And then you've got to wait out your timer, can go into stealth. So I've got a little countdown going, basically, that tells me when I can go into stealth. Off we go. Bang. Down it goes. Back into stealth, back into hiding, and then wait for the counter. Back into stealth I go. Off to the next. The gameplay is really safe. The problem with it is it feels slightly slow at times. So, I heard Pornstar refer to it as the dad build. Actually quite accurate. What I love about playing on this character is that when the wife wants me to help with something in the house, or one of the kids need help, I just go into a corner and hide. Now, brilliant. If I was on my mage, I could invis, but obviously there's a timer for that. Which kind of means I'm rushing around. So we didn't kill it first time. So there's two options, break line of sight, or I just get a little bit further away from it. Again, there's a delay on going back into hiding. That's where smoke bombs come in really well. There we go. Back into stealth. Click the mob, and it's gone back the other way. What I'm finding in the dungeons lately is some mobs will follow you to the ends of the earth. And then some mobs, they'll get out of their spawn area and they'll snap back almost immediately. It's a little bit weird at the moment. let's go and take something a little bit heavier. So what I would do here is hit this, doubtful I'll one-shot it, and then I can run round the corner, break line of sight, or run round this corner, break line of sight. What I do, if I'm killing in a heavily populated area, is I'll work out a route just quickly in my head of, so if I kill this Malform, that then frees up this room, so I can go and take out the Blood Sorcerer, but I've got an exit route where I can hide behind something, basically. That's the idea behind it. So yeah, didn't one-shot it. But if I go here, it's going to run towards this wall first off. So it gives me plenty of time to then hide again. So again, I'm using the terrain to my advantage. If I'd have just run out this corner and stood here where the cursor is, that would have just beelined straight out. And I wouldn't have been able to go back into hiding, again, without the use of a smoke bomb. Using the terrain there to my advantage, the mob tried to close the distance to me via the shortest path, and I could just, again, get straight back into hiding. Nice and easy. Again, this allows you to go down into some really big sort of dungeons. This sort of template works absolutely fine in Time Dungeon. Now again, the mobs are clearly a lot harder, and some of them take me multiple attempts basically to take down. But you can get there. There's no, you know, the only thing with this is it's just time, basically. Now, if I was on a summoner, I'd be in this room, my pets would be tanking, I'd be killing, so there's very little downtime. On this template, there is unfortunately some downtime, so that's kind of the trade-off. Now, Blood Demon, I've just almost one-shotted that. Back into hiding. Now, what happened there was I delivered a Blackguard strike. So that's what I was talking about earlier with the fencing codex. Dealt an additional 1,500 damage, and that would have kept ticking as well. So, brilliant for finishing off sort of slightly higher health mobs. If it goes off, is kind of the caveat there. 3 stealth steps, I'm not going to make it. So, there we go, I'm just going to hit stealth again. Down it goes. Skinning knife, skinning knife. Skinning knife's great because people obviously will leave gold on dead bodies. Instead of walking up and clicking each corpse and messing on, I just walk into the pile and skin, and it'll bring up everything that's available to me. So nice and easy. Let's go and take out this other Blood Demon. Just waiting on that timer now so I can go into stealth. We've got 2 Blood Demons. So what will happen here is I'll hit one of them. And they'll all start to target me. Now, what I was talking about earlier, in clearing that room next door, you see I could just run round the corner and they're there, trying to get as close to me as possible. Nice and easy. Now Blood Feasters obviously spawn back in this room. So before I make the next attempt, I'm just going to walk around a little bit, just healing myself up. Because especially with caster mobs, what I don't want to do is take a couple of explosions to the face, basically. That's not the aim. Whereas I'm relatively safe, I'm not relatively tanky. Almost a one-shot. So here that room's full. So I would then just run, gain some distance from the target, and then stealth. So again, that's the 2 steps. 1, break line of sight. Use kind of the terrain to your advantage. Secondly, just leg it and get enough distance away. Hide, stealth back. Nice and easy. No problems there. And then, yeah, simply loot. Job's a good one. And out the dungeon we go. So, again, I'd stay down here, obviously, till I was full. And I'd generally go areas where I'm making 1,500 to 2,000 a kill. Opposed to down here, it's, you know, unless I'm fishing for items, it's not really worth my time, necessarily. There are better dungeons, and I can take out, obviously, bigger creatures with this template. Hope you've enjoyed watching. Hope it's been an interesting introduction and you've learned some bits. If you've got any questions, please leave them down below and I'll try my best to answer them. Have a happy day. Happy gaming.